and California is currently being approved. So, you may ask, Sharif, why sports betting? Well, it's simple. With a little help, it can be beat. Previously, if you were a winning player in sports betting, the sportsbook would identify you and immediately lower the amount you can wager, as not to take a beating from you, or simply block your account. So if you're betting $500 to $1,000 a game, you're now only allowed to bet $25 a game, if you're allowed to bet at all. Imagine that. If you were good at your job and they said you couldn't do it because you were too good. If you're a successful stock trader and the firm says, no, we don't want you to trade stocks, we want the guys who mess up all the time only to trade against us. Now that this is legal and is going to be regulated by an oversight committee, the sportsbook, with so much intra-state competition, cannot afford to pull such shenanigans like this to their customers. What I'm trying to say here is that now that this is legal, consumers like you and I can potentially benefit from this, because sportsbook must be now transaction orientated instead of opinionated. The revenues must be focused on charging a transaction fee on a wager. In the betting world, they call this the juice. In the stock market world, or the cryptocurrency world, this is simply called a transaction fee. This change is huge. I can't reiterate this point enough. This is huge, that winning players can no longer get blocked. So, how can we become winning players? How to become a winning player in the $67 billion sports betting market? That's where machine learning comes in. What is machine learning? It's a definition, the study of algorithms and statistical models that computer systems use progressively to improve their performances on specific tasks, like computational statistics, which focuses on making predictions using computers. But for our purpose of this speech, I've shortened the definition of machine learning to just 5 words: using data to answer questions. Basically, there's a mathematical way of finding features that are strongly correlated. What is it consisted of? Machine learning programs, which will feature select neural networks, perceptron algorithms, k-mean algorithms, clustering. But unless you come from a data science background, all these terms might go over your head. First, let me tell you my experience before I started using a Python learning model, mainly depending on stats I could plug into my Excel spreadsheet model. I was like more sports bettors, only using small portions of data to make decisions. I would go to Vegas with the hottest trend sheets that I thought my teams were on, make my bets. A few I would win, but mostly I'd get wiped out. Vegas was like vacuuming money out of my pockets when I walked in. Any change came right out of my pocket. If I beat them once, they beat me 3 times. Money couldn't get sucked out of my pockets fast enough. Thankfully, machine learning programs have created parity, leveling the playfield like never before. And building your own model has never been easier to use data to answer questions. We can now utilize and understand your data set without having to be a data scientist, rather than having to understand the raw mathematics to build a model, because the model has already been built. But if I'm using machine learning and the sports books are using some sort of algorithmic machine learning program as well, how can I possibly win? Well, first, we're not competing against the sportsbook. They set the line. We're competing against the other 99% of the bettors out there who are not using some sort of sklearn learning linear model logistics regressions like you will. And second, you're not betting every single game in the market. There are hundreds of games going on worldwide daily. Using a machine learning program will help you become a value bettor. Trying to find expected value. Trying to buy $1 for 90 cents. For example, when you're investing in a stock, trying to figure out where the market is mispriced, using possibly Python, you're trying to learn how to win in the current environment algorithmically. It can be literally that simple. Sports betting is basically two parts. First, picking winners, and second, managing the fund. We will get into tips on managing the fund shortly, but let's get back to the different types of machine learning programs that can be useful. Choosing a model. Choosing a model in Python like sklearn and using it to explore your data set so you can have an idea what might be important in a sport. Or using a least square algorithm would be very useful in taking out the noise in sports. The cool team, the popular teams, trending stats will all be eliminated, leaving you with true data in which to mine. Most bettors, like I said previously, use small portions of data to make decisions on trends. 90% of trends in sports are not predictive. They're entertaining, but they do not have value. Like for example, when they say the Lakers have won on Sunday since 2008, dating today, the record is 20 wins, 1 loss. So maybe you think, oh wow, 20 wins, 1 loss, they're on a win streak on Sundays. But the 2008 basketball team has nothing to do with the 2018 basketball team. Context matters. Even using simple machine learning techniques like linear regressions or logistic regressions, will help shave your bias a lot, giving you a tremendous advantage over others. Having a quantitative background helps, but you can learn less complicated dynamics like knowing how to run a regression and the importance of this. Sadly, I apologize. I cannot teach you Python or any other machine learning type program in this 20-minute segment. It would take a lot more time than that. It's not that hard to take advantage of machine learning. The tooling is quite good. All you need is data, a developer, which will be you, and a willingness to take the plunge. And if you enjoy it like a hobby like I do, you can just feed the data into your computer and say, "Come on, computer, make me the money." Gathering data for your model. Learning how to simply web scrape data from Fangraphs, going through different libraries and packages and seeing what you can come up with is a good place to start. Preparing your data. How to determine what is predictive. Main thing you want to do is find leverage points of variance in your data. What is predictive versus what is descriptive? Example, in football, while fumbles in the game might be descriptive, there's no way to predict random chance events like this. So you might want to take all fumbles out of your data subsets. Backtesting is my favorite, allowing to see how you would have fared if you would have started a long time ago with this model. This allows a person to simulate strategy using historical data to generate results and analyze risk and profitability before risking any actual capital. If this interests you, computer languages I would recommend to learn are R, Python. Codecademy is a great source for both of these. The great Arthur C. Clarke established himself as a prominent science fiction and non-fiction writer in the mid-20th century. He wrote great novels such as Childhood Ends and 2001 Space Odyssey. And he was famously quoted one time, "Any sufficient advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Well, I found machine learning not to be magic, but rather tools and technology that you can utilize to answer questions with your data. Please, in closing, don't ever pay anybody for any hot sports picks or any guaranteed sports picks that are guaranteed to win. Either do it yourself or don't do it. And if you do it, please use a Python machine learning sports model. Thank you.